Well, Andrew Forrest, of course, represents the entrepreneurial leading edge of Australia's trade aspirations with India. Since the Free Trade Pact came into force between both countries at the end of last year, it's hoped that many smaller enterprises will soon find it easier to do business with the fastest growing of the large economies in the world. To gauge how that all falls into the place from here, the Chief Executive of the Australia-India Chamber of Commerce and Business, Tully Smith, is with us live from our Melbourne studios. Welcome, Tully. I'm curious, what measurable progress are you looking for or reasonably expecting to come from this high-level visit?
Well, good afternoon, Greg, and thanks so much for having the Australia-India Chamber of Commerce on the ABC to talk about this monumental visit from Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi to Australia. The Australia-India Chamber of Commerce exists to promote and support two-way bilateral trade between Australia and India, and what we're very excited is unpacking that opportunities that lies not just for some of the world's largest companies, be them large Indian companies or large Australian companies, but in particular all the way down to Australian small business and entrepreneurs.
So what have members that I guess you just referenced there, Tully, what have they done in preparation for this, or more importantly, to kind of leverage or springboard off the end of it? Are there steps being taken?
Well, look, absolutely. I think that the Australian business community now more than ever sees Australia's future is inextricably connected to India. And I think that's been made no more clear than in the recent successive federal budgets. India will soon grow to be the world's third largest economy, but India is also the world's largest democracy. And I think for many Australians, and in particular Australian businesses, we see that there are far more things that unite us with India than has ever possibly divided us. And that couldn't be more true in the business sense.
Yeah, you're talking about, businesses much smaller than Fortescue Metals. We just heard from Andrew Forrest there a moment ago. How small, though, and in what sectors do you think the earliest opportunities might come? I mean, we're talking in the context of this visit, but really, I suppose it's in the context of the free trade agreement that came into force.
Absolutely, and it's visits like this that just endorse the agreements like the Free Trade Agreement that I think open up these markets and make them more accessible than ever to our small and medium operators as well as large businesses. When you're looking at key industry sectors that we're looking at the Australian Industry Chamber of Commerce, we've just launched a number of national industry groups that we see primarily as focuses for our organisation. They include defence, education, space, critical minerals, future energy, technology and innovation, and we'll just recently be announcing a cybersecurity national industry group as well. So we see them as absolutely critical at the four steps of this relationship.
Okay, and education I don't think was on that list you just read out there, Tully, but it is. Okay, well, so what's the opportunity that unfolds as universities in particular, but not exclusively universities, try to build on the statements that they've already made here?
Yeah, look, absolutely. I think we see a number of opportunities for both Indian institutions and also Australian institutions. I think we need to look a little bit more broadly than just inbound students coming from India to Australian institutions, and we're really keen to unlock and explore partnership opportunities between Australia and Indian institutions to even bolster that even further. You've got to remember, Greg, that India has the fastest growing and increasingly affluent consumer market anywhere in the world. It's a transforming economy, and it offers fast-growing opportunities, in particular for Australian businesses. We see education as just part of that, but it's a really incredibly exciting opportunity.
And as you allude to there, Tully Smith, it's not a one-way street. We're talking about Australian businesses, but of course, Indian businesses, Indian students are going to want to take further advantage of the different chapters in this agreement. So how do you see that expanding?
Yeah, look, absolutely. What we see is Australia is as a market where there is vast skill shortages, of which we've talked a lot about, no more so than on this channel. So we see that as a potential market to fill some of those gaps. But in particular, we see Australia offering a global education, something that I think Indian students are more and more looking toward. The traditional markets for Indian students have always been London, New York, and also Canada. We see Australia increasingly coming up that list as in-demand location to getting a global education.
Well, it's a brief or relatively brief visit by Narendra Modi, but it does sound like for your organisation and your members there's years of work that will lie out the other side of it. Tully Smith, really appreciate your time coming into the studios today. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks so much, Greg. The work starts now.
Yeah. you.